Entering week 5, Gabe, it's hammer hunting season, 10-team start 11. You sending away Jonathan Brooks a second and a third to get into that Barkley share?
Oh, come on now. RB1 on the season right now. You definitely want to acquire Saquon Barkley in here.
Yeah, give me that Quadzilla. Let's talk about it.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
Yeah, welcome on in to the All Gas Trade Show. It's me, Ty Declare at Ty Declare 44. I'm joined by the co-host, Gabe at Gabe Garcia at iGabe at _FF on X. Gabe, welcome in, co-host. How you doing? And welcome to the quote unquote new show.
Yeah, man, doing great, buddy. I'm glad to have you back, Mr. Worldwide over here, traveling all over the country and getting to experience a lot of amazing cultures. So no, man, great to have you back. Excited to talk some fantasy football with you, and again, super excited to be on here permanently with you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Mr. Worldwide over here. Yeah, got back from drinking all the espresso and eating all the pasta over in Italy, but we're back. I'm back into football. And yes, if you're listening right now, you don't see it, but there's a little new logo. You know, we're still part of DD. Everything is still happening on DD. 10 tones down for DD fantasy football. But it's the All Gas Trade Show now. And our man over here, Gabe, is going to be with me regularly. He's my Goomba. I'm his little Nanaimo bar, but we get along. I think we talk good ball together. So y'all are in for a treat. We're a dynasty duo now, Gabe.
Yep.
You're stuck with me. You can't get rid of me. I'm sorry.
Hey, no worries. I'm not trying to give her to you. At least not yet. We'll
see. We'll get there. But hey, if you want to catch up with me, Gabe, know where we're at literally any other time than when we're recording right now, head over to patreon.com/allgas. Get into the Patreon, or get into the Discord, get into everything happening over in DD. There's a bunch of new shows, including Pole Position hosted by me over in the Discord. Literally, while I was away, I didn't have access to Wi-Fi. I didn't have access to anything. All I did was hone into DD shows, and that got me caught up on everything I needed to know in the fantasy streets. So we have you covered. I promise that. Gabe, let's just get to what we do best. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's
talk about it, man.
Let's just hop in here. So, I mean, Saquon Barkley, good at football. Shocking, I know. AJ Brown, still out. I bet he comes back after the bye week. Yep. Devontae Smith got his head removed from his body. I don't know how long it takes to recover from decapitation, but Saquon has a lot of opportunity on tap here in an offense that likes to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, you got that second, a third, and then Jonathan Brooks, whose practice window should be opening in the next couple weeks here. And
yep.
I mean, Gabe, Jonathan Brooks is probably still valued as like a top 12 running back if we looked at some trade calculators, right? But like, I'm assuming he just has to come in and look the part. He doesn't need the volume out the gate, but if he looks the part, I'm assuming Brooks will sustain some kind of dynasty value.
Yeah.
But in a 10 by 11 league, don't you just want the hammer?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you definitely just want the guy who's going to just get you all the points. I mean, again, I think he's RB1 right now on the season, and he's probably like top 5 in points per game so far. So he has been killing it. So definitely right now we're in point scoring season. And so I want Saquon Barkley 10 out of 10 times. Again, I am excited about Jonathan Brooks and what he can bring. And I know Andy Dalton has really elevated this Carolina offense, and so definitely some positive signs. But to your point, he's going to get ready to start practicing. He hasn't started yet. And so right now I need points. I want the hammer. Give me Saquon Barkley all day, every day.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe a more deep format. I'm more into kind of diversifying, getting the player, and if I have like a good multitude of running backs in the room, maybe I'm more willing to make that move. But it just feels like you want to hitch your bet to the right horse at running back, especially this early in the season. And Saquon's one of the best bets you can make. So, I mean, yeah, it could turn out that Brooks is the dude, and that's who you want. But I don't think we get there,
Yeah, and Miles Sanders actually looked pretty good too. I mean, he's looked okay. So who knows what the workload is going to be divvied up whenever Jonathan Brooks does come back.
And don't forget about Canadian superstar Chuba Hubbard too. I mean, Chubster, he's here to stay. So it's not going to be just Brooks comes in and he looks like he did in college. He gets a full work. It's not going to be that smooth. But I don't think he needs to have like all of the volume out the gate to really to get us there, right? So,
Yeah.
anyways, fun deal to get us started off, but now let's get into the nitty gritty. We're going to get into the Trinity right away here, Gabe. We got our man T. Sanford. We got a 12 by 11 Superflex PPR, 1.5 tight end premium, best ball, 25-man rosters. Surprise, 5-3 team. Don't you love that this early season? Like those.
Yeah. Hey, definitely love those. I actually have a surprise 0-3, 0-4s that I've seen. So could definitely be a lot worse for Sanford over here.
Don't like those surprises as much as the 5-3s, but I mean, Sanford's sitting here with Josh Allen, Kyler, and Tua. At running back, he's got Brian Robinson, Jonathan Brooks, and Cans. Wide receiver, JJ, Marvin Harrison Jr., Neighbors. That's a nice big three. Yeah. And then pair that up with Addison and Cans. And at tight end, you got Ingram, Hill, and Gesicki. It's a start 11 lineup, 12 team. Or it's a best ball.
Best
sorry.
ball. Yeah,
best ball. So Sanford gave away Tank Dell. And he got back Zach Moss and Darnell Mooney. Gabe, if we saw this deal, a month and a half ago, we'd be scratching our heads, wouldn't we?
After you'd be laughing at the bank, man. Jerm B over here would be laughing to the bank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but in season now, it's the Nico Collins show. Stephon Diggs is just doing Stephon Diggs things. And I mean, Dell has been the clear, I guess maybe clear third option. You could probably argue that even below that. I mean, you're the resident Texans fan, so I'm going to pull up the Trinity while you talk here, but just talk me through kind of what you're seeing in that Houston offense and just how your valuations maybe changed on Tank or what you're doing with your tanks.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think right now, again, to your point, Nico Collins, man, has really ascended this year. And I know getting into the end of last year, he was doing really, really well, but this dude is on another level this year, man. He really is. And then Stephon Diggs, of course, gets his share 100%. And I would sit there and argue, I know Tank Dell was injured this past week, but I would argue, the third option is probably Dalton Schultz right now. Again, right now I know Mixon is out. He's been injured, but they definitely want to establish the run. And then all the passing volume has gone really to Nico and Diggs. And then again, sprinkled in a little bit on Schultz there. So that's typically what I've been seeing on my side. And, again, to your point, if this was a month and a half ago, people thought Tank Dell would be the wide receiver 2 there, maybe even pushing wide receiver 1. But, oh, yeah, man, it's the Nico Collins show, and that's really the guy you want from the Texans offense.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember the chats. But Ray G lets us remind Solana all the time, hey, Tank Dell, wide receiver 1. That was funny. Right. Yeah. This is so I got the Trinity tracker pulled up, gdfantasyfootball.com. I've got it specifically for Houston in week 4. So, yeah, last week, Dalton Schultz was that third option, right? 410. Take that for what it is. But if we look at, weeks 1 through 4 in Houston, it's been Nico Collins, far and away elite usage, being used in the way that you need wide receivers to be used and getting in a good offense with good volume. So he is what you're seeking as a hammer this time of year. And Diggs is also there. That offense to sustain that role, right? Like he's above the trend line. He's trending below a wide receiver 1 on the year, but he's had a couple weeks up there as well. And you got Tank Dell just sitting at that replaceable threshold range of wide receiver. Right. Yeah. On a season 4.82. So again, just not really being used in a way that generally would score you elite fantasy football numbers. And that's kind of what we've seen on the field so far, right? And in best ball, I can replace this range of wide receiver.
Absolutely.
So conversely, let's pull up Atlanta for the season. Look how fast that is, Drake London, cool, like doing the thing, getting pretty much exactly what we're expecting, but he hasn't had that boost off the ceiling. And there's that Darnell Mooney doing more or less the same thing with maybe a little more wiggle room to rise up.
Yep.
I don't trust. His heels. Go ahead. Yeah, he's already on his heels.
Yeah, I mean, he's been great. Honestly, he's been definitely very, very serviceable. And again, in best ball, you want as many darts at the board as you can, and you could even, or not even, you can't even argue it, but Darnell Mooney's out producing Tank Dell already as it is. And so in that trade, I mean, you're getting Zach Moss, who's been very good as well. I think, again, trusting the Trinity, you see it there. Darnell Mooney's already out producing Tank Dell, and then you get a Zach Moss in a best ball league too. That's definitely the side that I would want in that.
Yeah. And like, if you're looking at it from like what side, I guess maybe you could do more with on the trade market. Like, yeah, I think a good game from Tank Dell, that bounce back could be there, right? And people will be liking Tank Dell again. But in best ball, I mean, you're giving me pretty much the same bet in Darnell Mooney, but in a room where I only have Brian Robinson and Jonathan Brooks at running back, and now I'm trying to add some points smartly. Yeah, sure. Give me a cheap Zach Moss just to plug in there. Right? I bet I can find like a Justice Hill and an Austin Eckler to complement that as well. And hey, look at me. We're flying now. But I mean, this is a great best ball trade, 12 by 11. I'd love it more in like a 12 plus kind of league, and 25 man rosters. You can't do this deal into infinity, right? You have to choose your spots. But I like what you did here, T. You use that Trinity. Trust it.
Yeah, I think it's a savvy move for sure. Again, I think similar production, very savvy, and you get a very, very serviceable running back in Zach Moss as well.
Damn straight. All right, let's move that. All right, here we go. You failed me. It's time. Got a 12 by 11 Superflex PPR 2.0 tight end premium and a 0.2 point per carry. They're a 7-1 contender in their league. Their quarterbacks were Mahomes, Kyler, and backups. They had Brees, Mixon, Moss, Warren, Cans. Their wide receivers were JJ, Marvin Harrison Jr., AJ Brown, Olave, Hopkins. Tight ends were, oh my, talk about things we feel differently about 4 weeks into the season. Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, and Cans. Cans.
That'd have been the tight end one room right there, man. A couple weeks ago.
Sheesh. Has 2:26 seconds and a third, 27. So he's spent some picks already, but he has some seconds and thirds. People don't know how to feel in Mahomes right now, Gabe, and you failed me, sent away Mahomes and DeAndre Hopkins. You got back Geno Smith, Cole Kmet, Puka Nacua, and their own 2026 first. So, couple things happening here. They're a 7-1 contender, but they're getting back their 2026 pick. So they're kind of securing a bit of their future. Maybe they're looking at their team thinking, I don't know about next year, but I mean, they have a good core of JJ, Marv, AJ Brown, Brees, Kyler. Send away that Hopkins. Talk to me about Mahomes, man. How are you feeling on Mahomes? What are you trying to do with your Mahomes? Are you trying to go down? Are you just holding? Are you trying to go cross positional and get something really nice? Like, what do you do with Mahomes at this point?
Dude, I think it's been difficult. I know that there's been a lot of Mahomes slander kind of going around, and a lot of it, has been attributed to Kelsey not being Kelsey. Obviously, we just lost Rashee Rice, and so there's been a lot of stink, right? But in my opinion, Mahomes is I would say the most secure dynasty asset that we have, right, in terms of ADV. And so, while I get trying to pivot off of Mahomes, production-wise, the drop-off may not be as significant to Geno Smith, but Geno Smith goes out there and gets injured tomorrow, you're not getting anything for Geno Smith. I mean, literally, you would probably get nothing for Geno Smith. And so doing a move like this is really difficult for me because Kyler has been good, right? He's definitely been very good, and he's ascended kind of back up in the rankings from where he was in the offseason. But man, I'd have a really hard time of even wanting to consider a tear down from Mahomes to Geno Smith, even in the point scoring season, because again, you want that security. And I get that you're 7-1 right now, but it looks, based on the team just looking at it right now, that 26 first is probably looking a little bit later. I mean, you're already 7-1 this year, depending on, again, I know things can kind of fluctuate year to year, but you've got Brees, Mixon, Moss. I don't expect any of those guys to go anywhere anytime soon. Mahomes, Kyler, not going anywhere anytime soon. Of course, your wide receivers, I mean, you have very, very good wide receivers. So I don't know, man. This is a difficult one for me, like, to want to tear off of Mahomes, but I can understand why you would do it. I just don't know if right now is necessarily the best time. I think I'd want to wait till he has a couple of strings along, a couple of good games, really get some of that dynasty value back, and then you can definitely make a pivot then. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel about just Mahomes right now on a surface level of moving him right now.
We don't see anywhere here that says best ball or lineup. Hey, I'm not missing that. I don't see any indication, because, I mean, I get 2.0 tight end premium, right? Yeah. Start 11. you already have Pitts and Andrews. So if you're acquiring Cole Kmet, does that mean that you're benching Pitts and Andrews for that? Or are they somewhere in your flexes? I'm trying to figure out one, like how that kind of finagles. If it's best ball, I get it.
Yeah.
But then like you're 7-1 contender. And I'm assuming like, because getting Geno, you're sending away Mahomes. So it feels like you take an L there, but maybe you're thinking production wise, it can be a wash in 24.
Correct.
Okay. Nakua,
who's a 0 right now.
Puka's like, he has to be a late season play at this point, right? So you have to get to the playoffs to be able to really capitalize on that if your goal is to score points in 2024 with that. And then, Kmet and your own 26 first. So I don't really know if this deal helps your competing window. And I don't think that your team was really starved for assets that you can move and trade. So, it just comes down to kind of, what is Mahomes? Is he still that dynasty insulated asset? Is he quote unquote better for NFL than fantasy? And it's going to stick that way? And are we never going to see a Kelsey season again? And what happens with Rashee Rice? Don't worry, we're going to talk about Rice today. But I don't know. Hopkins doesn't really move the needle much, but he's a starter, and you're sending that away as well in a start 11. So, man, I mean, I don't think your team is bad enough to really make that first early in 2026. So
yeah, I agree.
I think I'll just stick Mahomes and Hopkins here. I get what you're trying to do, but if I'm a 7-1 contender, I think the return will probably look a little bit differently, unless I think I can do more with Geno, Kmet, Nakua in the first,
Yeah, it almost seems like it would be, again, a little bit more of kind of like a headache, like shuffling through Kmet, Andrews, Pitts, like week over week, because you're not going to start all three because, I mean, quite literally, they probably could all three give you zeros one week, the way that the landscape is going for tight ends right now. But I know Kmet's been pretty good. And so, again, he's definitely somebody that you could plug in, but then you're going to hate, man, to see that Mark Andrews or that Kyle Pitts go off on your bench one week. And, you might be able to move them for something else, but the reality is it just seems like you're getting more of like a lineup headache, kind of, acquiring these guys. Because again, Puka Nacua is not starting right now. Your 26 first looks to be a little bit later, especially with this team right now. Again, I don't expect any of your guys to go anywhere anytime soon. And then Cole Kmet, who do you start between Pitts, Andrews, Kmet, and then Geno Smith? Again, Geno Smith production-wise is probably going to be equivalent to Patrick Mahomes. So did you really gain anything? I mean, because you could even argue that Hopkins might be able to give you similar production to one of your tight ends as well.
Right. Yeah. And you know me, I don't want to have lineup headaches, right? And you know what's going to happen. You trade for that Kmet, you plug them in the lineup, and then Pitts or Andrews are going to be the one that goes off on your bench every single week. And those are the ones that you kick yourself for benching too. Right. And that
because you know better than that.
You do. I don't know the tight end market in this league. I would have probably tried to slim out your tight end room versus adding one there. Maybe try and get something different in the deal back to feel better about your return from Mahomes versus trying to split it up. You know what I mean? You have running backs, you have cans listed, but I'm assuming there's a can or two that maybe has a role right now. Yep. JJ, Marv, AJ Brown's going to be back. Olave, you had Hopkins. I just feel like you had enough weekly options as is, and I don't know if this actually made you better. And it feels like you kind of just threw that Mahomes away. So maybe not threw him away, but looking at that, there's Mahomes, number one asset in the deal. Hopkins, pretty clearly number 6 for me in the format with a 2.0 tight end premium for Kmet. Yep. So you failed me. You got 2, 3, 4, and 5, which is usually good math, but sometimes that one is just far and away the one, and I think that's kind of where we're at here.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But hey, it's a good one. It's a 0.2 point per carry, so maybe Nakua starts running the ball more. I don't know. I don't know if
once he gets back.
Yeah, exactly. All right, here we go. This is Stales. 12 by 10 Superflex, 0.5 PPR, 0.5 tight end premium, best ball. They're currently in first and needed wide receiver depth. They sent away Zay Flowers in that 2026 second, and they got back Chris Godwin, Terry McLaurin, and Tyler Snoop Huntley. That's a pretty sweet deal in a 12 by 10 best ball. Send Zay Flowers. You get arguably a better producing wide receiver in Godwin. You get Terry McLaurin for a 26 second and get Tyler Huntley on the arm. And where's my guy Drew Sorensen music at? Where's that Terry McLaurin hate now, man? Come on.
Dude, he's on the up and up right now too, man. Him and Jaden Daniels are starting to establish that connection, and it has been nice, to say the least. It has been very, very nice. So in a best ball league, it's a savvy deal for sure. Like I said, to your point, Godwin's already out producing Flowers, and get a McLaurin and a Tyler Huntley for a 26 second. Why not? Let's do it.
I like that one. And it looks at lineup league. So different league. Now you're in lineup. 12 by 10 Superflex 0.5 PPR. You get that Malik Neighbors. What wide receiver 1, Gabe? What are we talking about now? Huh?
It is. Oh my! I mean, again, I like him a lot, dude. But yeah, I think he's wide receiver 2. I think on KTC behind Justin Jefferson. So
yeah,
he's expensive. You cannot acquire this man right now. You cannot acquire this man right now. At least not for a reasonable price right now.
The STLs did for Drake May, Brian Thomas Jr. in a 25 second.
Yep.
You paying that for Neighbors?
I definitely would pay that for Neighbors. I would be very, very, again, in a lineup league, you want the hammers, especially to start 10. And Malik has proven to be one of those hammers. I mean, he is getting peppered with targets right now. And despite how we all felt in the offseason about Daniel Jones's targets, it's working out for him right now. It is working out.
Screw it. Neighbors is down there somewhere.
I mean, dude, it's working out, man. It is working out for him. So, yeah. I mean, I definitely would do that in a lineup league for sure.
Yeah, I love Brian Thomas Jr. too. Like he's the number 1 Trinity option through 4 weeks in the Jacksonville offense. You know, Christian Kirk is there, and Gabe Davis is a bit of a gnat, but you know, Thomas is doing everything you can ask him to do from a utilization stage at this stage in his career than we could. So I like my Brian Thomas Jr. bets, but Brian Thomas Jr. feels like one of those guys that you can either get as a nice tier down piece or you can use to tier up. And I mean, if I'm going up, I'm going Neighbors, I'm going Nico, and I'll happily send in that Drake May and a small pick if that's what closes the gap, especially in like a 12 by 10 kind of league. So I like this a lot. I like all the assets you're sending away, but I like the league Neighbors a lot more in the format. So yeah, give me Neighbors.
Out here going 2 for 2. Stealth is 2 for 2 right now.
You know, gotta get a little bit of an air horn there. Just get us going. All right, here we go. Scardy. We already did that one. You already got your love. You already did. All right, Mattyboy, here we go. 12 teams, start 11, Superflex, tiered PPR. It's a 1 for wide receiver, 1.5 for running backs, and 2.0 for tight end premium. There's also a 0.2 point per carry with big play bonuses across the board. Both first in this deal are projected to be playoff first. So Mattyboy receives Caleb Williams, Justin Jefferson, and Kareem Hunt. And Simon M09 gets themselves into Patrick Mahomes, Rashee Rice, and 2 2025 first round picks. Gabe, there's so many ways that we can kind of break this down and talk about it, but we have to address Rashee Rice. So as we record today, it's 4:57 on October 3rd. Okay. So what we know
I love the context.
Well, it's going to change by the time this comes out. I just know it, right? We're either going to have good news, bad news, probably bad news. But what we know, the imaging was inconclusive. They're waiting for swelling to come down to look at it more. There's some optimism or hopium brewing on your Reddits and online, but we just don't know. And I would never have remembered waiting this long and then the news being positive at the end of the day. So how are you feeling on Rice, Gabe?
First off, the injury looks pretty bad. Mahomes took out his knee and it did not look good. Right.
Any memory of that interception gone just after he did that. So really a high IQ play by Mahomes there.
He did that intentionally, right? He was like, "Oh, forget about this interception that I just threw." All eyes are on Rice right now. Rice is one, man, that's been really difficult to kind of evaluate, and I say that because if it's as severe as we're kind of thinking, he's likely going to be out for the season. He might, maybe depending on the timeline, could be back for playoffs if they make it, which I'm sure they will. But obviously the fantasy season is going to be over by that point. So then that kind of puts us into the off season next year. He has a lingering suspension. We don't have any idea of how long, or what that looks like, but you can probably pencil it in for a couple of games. Again, I don't want to sit here and give you guys a number because I don't want to spread any like false news or anything like that. But I would imagine it's probably going to be a handful of games that he's going to be suspended for. And so you're really looking at him now coming back when, man, mid 2025 is kind of what, at best, mid 2025
for actually impacting your fantasy lineup. Yeah, probably mid 25.
Yeah. And so at that point, do you want to hold a guy like that? I mean, again, I know he's been great. I know he's been doing really, really good in the KC offense, but to hold an asset like that won't do anything to go up or down really in value is just going to be a zero sitting on your roster for the next year and a couple of weeks. I definitely am actively looking to move off of Rashee. And I think right now he's not valued there, but I do think there's probably a good 25 to maybe 30 receivers that I would want over Rashee right now instead of just holding the bag. Again, we're wanting to win our fantasy leagues. That's why we play this game. And so right now, I just have no desire to hold on to Rashee Rice for a year plus. Like, that's just not the way that I like to do that I like to play Dynasty. And so if you're giving me anything of service right now that could be useful for my team, he can go. And that's kind of the mentality right now that I have specifically around Rashee Rice.
Yeah. I want to say this like respectfully, right? Like for Rashee Rice, like there is an outcome where, you know what? He really escaped the worst case outcome.
Yep.
He's going to be on the field sometime late 2024. I just don't know if we're going to see the same Rashee Rice that we were betting on and the one that we were, projecting at the start of the year until hopefully next year. But, our injury doctor, old JMPT Thrive, Jeff over there, he did say that Rice's profile, if it is an ACL, like his profile does recover well from ACL tears. So that made me feel good. And, if I am on a rebuilding roster, one trying to get points off, I think it's definitely a time to try to get that Rice, right? And you can find a good way to ship off points while getting a good load of value with that and shipping away points. So you can really maneuver that Rice. But yeah, if I'm on a contending roster, especially if these best ball leagues without IR spots, you kind of have to do something, and you kind of have to do something now when it's ambiguous, and you have to kind of make a bet, or you're going to have to settle with whatever the market says, which I bet it'll just kind of be declining as soon as we know he's not going to be coming back and being meaningful in 2024, right?
Yeah, and that's a good point that you bring up there, because right now there still is a lot of positivity, again, a little bit of optimism, if you will, surrounding his situation. Like maybe it's not as severe as we really thought, or, something of the sort. But I think right now would be a good time to trade Rashee Rice, be proactive about it, because again, I mean, looking at the injury, it definitely does not look great for him, man. It looked really, really rough on the field.
It did. But going back to this deal now, so we got Mahomes. We talked about Mahomes, right?
Yep.
You're still there in Mahomes. Rice is Rice. TBD on what his outcome is. But then you have 225 first. You're saying they're both playoff teams. And Gabe, maybe if I've learned something through this first part of the year, really it's that I don't want to be so like dynasty arrogant in the offseason and projecting, late first, mid first, early first, and just saying like it's set in stone, because these first 4 weeks have just been bizarro land, upside down world, right? And
yep.
We really don't know. And variance is really the big equalizer at the end of the day. So especially in 2025, but I'm anticipating my process kind of going into the future here. I'm an all sizes fit, for first. Just, I don't care. Just let me have equity in a class. And if I can get multiple shots in a single class, that's the advantage. I don't really care if they're falling on the lower scale or the higher scale. I'll bet that variance will sort that out in the end. while I try to control what I can control with my pick. So I mean,
it's a good process, though. It's definitely a good process. I mean, we saw it last year, specifically like in HVV. Those picks, man, at the end of the year, once really the going gets tough, are incredibly valuable. And so the more that you can secure them now, even if you are a contending team, just hold on to them until the time is right. You'll know when the time is right. Again, we all suffer injuries in fantasy football. It happens to everybody. And we've seen a lot this year already early on in the first 4 weeks. And so, again, never a bad thing to have any extra equity or liquidity, if you will, ready to go whenever you need it at your disposal.
And just even like the kind of play devil's advocate on that even is if there is bets to make, making them now so you actually get the most equity out of that bet and you get more weeks in your season in 2024 with that bet. Like there's a push and pull to it. But yeah, like especially in like an HVV type best ball league, I want to have some picks in my back pocket where I know there's no trade deadline. I can make moves when it really matters. I like having that, but there also is inherent value in making a bet and hopefully being right on that bet earlier in the year, securing that buy, like improving your percentage chance of actually making it to the money,
I agree.
Either way, getting first, good process. So Mahomes, Rice, and 2 firsts. And we got Caleb, Jefferson, and Hunt. Okay, so Kareem Hunt back in Kansas City. We'll see. We'll see. Pacheco's not here for the foreseeable future until later in the year. Yeah, Carson Steele, if he's not at the AVN Awards. It was fun. He fumbled a lot of balls, but, RIP, I guess, Carson Steele. Is it P. Ryan season? Is it Hunt season? I don't know. But, Hunt's a piece in a deal. If you're getting credit for Hunt in a deal, that's probably a good thing. Caleb, people just don't like Caleb, do they? Like some people online just do not like him at all.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I've seen so many different things about Caleb Williams. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, we were just talking about the Patrick Mahomes hate a second ago. Caleb's got some stank on him too right now, man.
He does. And then there's just that Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver 1 in Dynasty, still unlocked by old Sam Darnold and Kevin O'Connell. Just Dynasty perfection, Trinity. So everything is lining up for Jefferson, so I like that. But this deal. So let's play the cross-off game, Gabe.
Yep.
Do we have to start Jefferson and Mahomes? Or do you want to go Caleb and Mahomes? Like, how do you want to approach that?
Yeah, I would probably say Rice and 2 firsts maybe for Jefferson. Is kind of how I had thought about it. Again, you're not getting Jefferson for anything less than 2 first plus. Right? Yeah, or something of that equivalent. And so that's kind of how I would look at it. And then Mahomes, Caleb, and Hunt. That's kind of how I would break it down a little bit for this in particular. I know that it's a tiered PPR league, right? So kind of gives you a little bit more context as far as the breakdown of the receptions, but that's how I would look at it at the surface level. Is just that's how I would break the trade down.
Yeah, big play bonuses, 0.2 point per carry. So if you're getting those Mahomes quarterback rushes, cool. 1.5 for running back. So maybe Hunt, if he does get some volume or at least secure a 40%er type role, he can maybe at least bring in a couple receptions. But I don't think Rice and 2 firsts are getting Jefferson, but like 3 firsts worth of value in this dynasty economy is nothing that you can shake your head at. So I don't know if that gets it done, but it's in the arena. I don't think Caleb and Hunt gets you Mahomes, but it's at least in the arena of Caleb plus for that. So, it's probably at the end of the day, like a fairer deal than, maybe if you looked at this again, like a month ago, you'd think this is insanity. But, I think it's just, what's the bigger gap? Rice and 2 firsts to Jefferson or Caleb and Hunt to Mahomes? Whatever side you think has maybe the more gap to fill there, maybe that's the side that you're on. Maybe this is where I buy Rice. Maybe this is where I get Mahomes, Rice, and 2 firsts and move along. But if I'm in a I need to win right now mode, I think it's hard to say no to Caleb, Jefferson, and Hunt if I need points like today in week 5.
I mean, even then, though, like I feel like if you really take a step back, like I understand where you're coming from, right? But dude, what you could do with those 2 firsts right now, and even Rice, like he's still movable, like he is still tradable. People still are actively wanting him, so it's not like he's a throw-in piece, right? So I think he's definitely one of those. I feel like you could do maybe a little bit more in the context of like the 2 firsts and Rice. Like you could probably maneuver that a little bit. I feel like a little bit better than the Caleb and. Again, that's where. So I agree with you. I definitely feel like I would lean more towards the Patrick Mahomes, Rashee Rice, and 2 firsts because just of what I feel like I could do with those picks right now.
Yeah, as I was saying, like trying to talk myself into the Caleb side, like I did throw up a little bit in my mouth. I think just throwing away Mahomes and Rice, and I know it's like oh maybe, but just give me the pick again. The process thing that we just talked about like 5 minutes ago, however friggin' long ago at this point. Give me the first. Just give me Mahomes and Rice. And Rice is movable right now. So you can still do things with that. And Jefferson's maybe best asset in the deal, right? From like a point scoring, what we're doing right now. But give me Mahomes, Rice in the first, and I'll figure out Rice. Sure. This is how I'm acquiring Rice with Mahomes and with multiple firsts attached to him.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with you 100%. I do agree with that.
Perfect. Love that. Okay, let's keep on the Rice train here. We got Raffy bombs. We got a 12-team start 10. 12-team start 10 with a 0.5 PPR. He got out from Rice. So he received Garrett Wilson in a third, sent away Rashee Rice in a second. Gabe, people do not like Garrett Wilson in this current iteration of the Jets offense. They do not like him at all.
Can you blame them, though? Can you blame them?
No.
I was going to say, I mean, dude, everybody was fully all in on Aaron Rodgers elevating Garrett Wilson to new heights, and it hasn't happened, man. So there's a lot of stink around that.
Yep. And like that was the bet, right? That Aaron Rodgers is going to come back. Garrett Wilson is going to be used and actually receive the volume. And that's what's going to lead him to be an elite outcome guy. And thank God for Alan Lazard, right? Like, come on.
We should have saw that coming, to be fair. They played in Green Bay together. They had a good connection. We should have probably not discounted that so much.
Yeah, and now we'll watch Devontae Adams mosey his way over there too, and then we'll just have the Green Bay East show. Rice in a second, Wilson in a third. I am just gonna go forward saying that while Rice's knee isn't completely torn from the ACL perspective, there's definitely some kind of internal damage that's happened there. And whatever the repercussions, I'm assuming that his 2024 elite production usage is not reality at this point. Yeah. So if you're competing right now, do you just take the bet on Garrett Wilson? Or are you, if you have an IR spot, you're just taking the Rice, stash him away and getting a pick upgrade? Like, how are you approaching that one, Gabe?
Yeah, I think right now, so to the last trade that we just had, see, Rice is definitely movable. People are still, again, bought in, and they'll stash him on an IR or they'll just keep him on the team until he's back and ready to go. And so I think for this deal right now, again, going back, we're in point scoring season. And so I mentioned that I would take 25 or so receivers above Rashee Rice right now, just with the injury and everything, and knowing that he could but may not come back until next year, and all of that. And so Garrett Wilson is one of those 25 that I would want. And so if I have to pay just a second and you're giving me back a third to move into that, I would definitely do this deal again. And that's not, Garrett Wilson has not been great, but the second Garrett Wilson does anything, people are bought back in. It.
Yep. That's it. And I don't think it's going to take a lot to get there either, right? It's going to take a come from behind game script. It's going to take a big play. Like, people are going to be back in at some point. I refuse to believe that this is the end. But just to your point there about being able to move Rice, I pulled up a Dynasty Daddy's trade database, and since Sunday to now on Thursday, there's been 383 Rice trades captured within this tool. So you can move Rice. But again, I feel like now is the time to make that bet. So if you can get value with Rice and then parlay that into another deal, that's one way to approach it. But yeah, in a deal like this, I'll just take Garrett Wilson. I'll take the third. Bet that Garrett Wilson will continue to play football in 2024 where Rice may not, and that I can either capitalize once the Wilson spike happens again, or I just take the bet and hope that I'm right.
Yeah. It's right
but
there.
Rafi, if the bag's right there, go get it, man. Like this is an attainable trade for sure. From what I'm looking at, this is an attainable trade. So if you want out, there's an option. Okay, Big Diaz. Let's talk about it. Got 12 team, start 10, Superflex, PPR. His team has had major attrition. Cashed last year, so he's using that money cushion to go the other way now. So he's playing for free, got some house money in the back pocket, he's feeling good. He has his 12 other teams, probably 40,000 leagues, however many Diaz is in. The amount of trades Diaz put in the Discord this week, we could do a whole show just on Diaz, but we're keeping you in check. We'll maybe get 2 trades for you here, Diaz. But Diaz acquired Puka Nacua and a 2025 first of the team he's trading with. He sent away Deontay Johnson, Kyle Pitts, Ty Chandler, and Jordan Mason. We talked about Pitts briefly. Tough look. I don't know if Penix fixes that problem. I don't know really. And it's just pain and sadness when I think about Pitts. Like, I don't know if you feel any different.
Dude, you want to talk? We talked about Garrett Wilson, right? And how people wanted to pencil him in as this elite guy, which I was fully bought in on. I will sit here and, again, I'm not immune to that. I was fully bought in on Garrett Wilson. And again, we thought the quarterback was going to come in and elevate him. We thought the same thing for Kyle Pitts. We thought Kirk Cousins was going to be the guy that really elevated him and this offense. And I don't think we've seen that yet, man. We have not yet seen that. And so it has been very, very sad, very, very painful if you're a Kyle Pitts owner for sure. Did he mention anything about a tight end premium? I didn't see that in here.
I see nothing on tight end premium.
Okay.
And yeah, since Matt Ryan led Kyle Pitts to his historic rookie season, it's been not like that since then. So tough on the street for Kyle Pitts. Deontay Johnson, breath of fresh air from, of course, Andy Dalton in 2024.
Red Rifle.
Fantasy squads. Yeah, the Red Rifle coming through. Deontay trending well on Trinity too. I'm going to pull that up in a quick second here, but Ty Chandler, Jordan Mason, we got double Achilles tendonitis, CMC. Nothing's changed from what I've heard on the timeline of him coming back probably in November. He's still just your playoff chip piece that you hope you can cash in a nuke when you need to. But Jordan Mason, the runway continues to extend for him, and I'm going to bet that when CMC comes back, Mason is not going to go to zero from a production standpoint. I bet it's probably more of a traditional kind of 60-40 split as they ramp up CMC. Do you see that any differently?
No, I don't see that any differently at all. I think Jordan Mason has definitely proven to be, very serviceable. And I do think he's going to continue to be involved right now in this San Francisco offense. But I am a little bit weary on Jordan Mason just again as a running back right now. I do think he has a lot of really good value. And right now he's definitely somebody that I would be actively looking to move, especially in Diaz's situation right now where he mentions major attrition right now. He's definitely a guy that I'm looking to move. If I have him on a roster where I was contending at one point and now I'm not, he's definitely one that's got to go. Because again, anything happens to Jordan Mason, you're not going to be able to get anything for him. But I do think that when CMC comes back, he's still going to be serviceable. So yeah, he's definitely a guy that I'm looking to move right now if I have him on a roster that I'm not competing on.
Yeah, and now's the time. Why wait, right? People want those points right now, so now's the time. And I think behind Carson Steele, Jordan Mason must be Diaz's second most owned player. So love that for him. And yeah, Ty Chandler, again, a running back on a 53-man roster. You can plug him in the starting lineup, but you never really feel great about it. So Deontay, Pitts, Chandler, and Mason for Nacua and a first. Nacua for what? Jordan Mason and Deontay Johnson? Does that get you Nacua?
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And depending on which way you lean, honestly, I could see
Yeah.
that going either way. Like I could
Yeah.
want the Deontay Johnson, Jordan Mason side. To your point, he's
Yeah.
been elevated by Andy Dalton. Jordan Mason's been very good at football, and
Yeah.
so if I want points, I would consider that a pretty fair deal, if you will.
I don't really have any qualms with that one way or the other. One side is taking the upside shot on Nakua, but again, just speaking on Nakua, his game was predicated on getting insane volume and usage in an offense that's has a Stafford and a Cup and all that. Do we really expect him to walk in and just have his volume cranked all the way up to 10 after he's out for at least another month? Probably not that quickly, right? So I don't know truly what Puka's rest of the season will look like either. But yeah, I mean, Deontay and Mason for Nakua, I think that's probably a fair deal. But I can see that from both sides. They have a 25 first and I'm assuming a no tight end premium league for Chandler and Pitts. I'm taking the first if that's the context. It's weird.
I think I'm going to agree with you, man. But
it's weird that we're here.
It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. I mean, again, Pitts is one of those guys. He does anything. He can get elevated again, but I think it's a good process play, Diaz. I definitely think it's a good process play to move him right now. Again, he hasn't shown really anything over the past couple years. And so at this point, we were holding out hope that Kirk Cousins could elevate him. He has not. Well, why hold on to the hopium and, get a pick and call it a day, right? You're not competing right now. You want to get younger. You want to get some liquidity. I'm on board with this. And I could actually, again, see this trade from both sides. I think this is a good deal for both parties. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. Deal. But it's pain for Pitts, man. It's pain.
Pain for Pitts. I mean, at least Pitts wasn't scoring you points on your rebuilding roster, So, you had that at least. But no, I think no, this is a direction choosing deal. I like it from both sides. Great deal. Give a couple air horns for that. But yeah, that can go either way, really. But good work, Diaz, getting Nakua in the first. Send away that headache. Send away the production in 24 on a team you don't need it. Send away the running back. Yeah, I like the process. Good work.
Yep.
Good work. All right, Gabe. You know what we're getting into now. That's the last one. Got ourselves.
Shane Says.
A 3-team deal with Shane Says, Big Janikowski, and Big Diaz Energy, the 3 horsemen of DD. So it's the start 11, 2 quarterback, no flexes. So start two quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 4 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. It's a 6-point passing touchdown league. Some negatives for interceptions. There's some pass completion bonuses, some big play bonuses. There's a 0.5 rushing first down bonus. There's a 0.2 point per carry. Again, big play bonuses. It's a PPR. 0.5, I believe, for a first down for receiving as well. And a 0.75 tight end premium. So nice scoring across the board. But again, no flexes. So you have to be constructed well in a league like this. And if you don't have a quarterback, it's going to probably be hard to find the right one here. So it's a very interesting kind of setup.
Yep.
God, I don't even know how to start. So, I mean.
Well, I want to start off with this, right?
Yes.
I'm going to start off with this. So,
please.
In 3-team deals, it is incredibly difficult to make a quote unquote fair deal, in my opinion. One side always gets the short end of the stick. And that's what I'm going to say as far as 3-team deals. I've seen a couple, and there's usually always one team that you can tell really loses the deal. And then you can clearly tell there's 1 or 2 teams that clearly win the deal. So again, it's always so difficult to evaluate the 3-team deals in that context because there's always going to be one team I feel like that gets the short end of the stick. And so what I will say, just to get us kind of kicked off at the very beginning, just looking at this on surface level, I think Janner made out like a bandit on this deal. Just giving up a 25 first and being able to acquire Alvin Kamara, 26 second, 25 third, and a 25 fourth for your first, I think is a good deal. I do think that is a very, very good. Exactly. And again, there's always one team, man, that makes out like a bandit. There's always one. And so from here, we can go back to the top and we can start off with Shane says. But I just wanted to point out, again, going back to that point, that there's always one team that I feel like really wins, and I think it was just on surface level right now. I think it was Janner's team.
Yeah, I like that. Just really quick on that. I mean, Kamara, I don't want to send a single first for Kamara, but if I can get a second, a third, a fourth back for him as well, okay, that works. That works for me, But yeah, so let's hop up to Shane. Shane's at the top of the deal here. So Shane got into Noah Fant and Jordan Love. They sent away the aforementioned Kamara, Justin Jefferson, and a 2026 second round pick. So I remember in the comments here reading down, like, Shane did not have a kind of a quarterback. He needed to figure out quarterback. And doesn't sound like the market was really there to actually buy into a quarterback. So this is probably, I'm assuming, the best deal he could make to get into like the Jordan Love range of quarterback.
Yeah.
Again, 0.75 tight end premium, some bonuses. Jordan Love and Fant, or Kamara, Jefferson, and a 26 second, Gabe.
I can only imagine that it is difficult to buy a QB, especially of the Jordan Love caliber, in a start to quarterback, right? Again, a super flex, it's very different from a start to quarterback, but dude, I hate to lose Justin Jefferson, man, and Alvin Kamara. Like, I hate to lose both of them in a deal to get Jordan Love. I don't know what his other quarterback situation was, but God, especially having no flexes, like, it just, you want the hammers, man. You want the guys that you can plug into your lineup every single week, not even sweat it. And you gave up two respective, ballers at their position, really. I mean,
yeah,
it's hard. It definitely is hard for me because, again, evaluating Shane's trade, I want Justin Jefferson and Alvin Kamara and a second over Noah Fant, even with the tight end premium, and Jordan Love. I understand why you did it. And if this was the best deal that was offered to you, then hey, again, going back to my earlier point, there's always one team that gets the short end of the stick in a deal. And unfortunately, looking at this at surface level, I feel like Shane is the one that got the short end of the stick in this deal.
I mean, a 26 second and Noah Fant. I don't think I'm buying Fant for that. But maybe
with the premium, let's just say sure. Yeah.
With the premium, and I don't have another tight end, so Fant is entering my lineup. I'm getting every start out of Fant. Sure. Fine. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Kamara and Jefferson for Jordan Love. Ugh. I mean, if I look at this league, you had to start 4 wide receivers. If there was ever a position, and 2024 has taught us this, that I can replace and play for cheaper, it's probably wide receiver.
Yep.
But Justin Jeffersons do not grow on trees.
He's not one of those that you can just easily replace like that.
He ain't like them.
Yeah.
He ain't like that. No. So if someone offered me Jefferson and Kamara for my Jordan Love, I wouldn't like it, but I would just take Jefferson and Kamara and go win the league. I think that's how I would probably play it. So that's tough, but I think the context of everything makes it really brings it in. But I still think, probably Shane, if I had to choose a quote unquote loser of the deal, I think Shane would probably take away the least value in this, but probably did exactly what he needed to move his team forward, if I had to guess.
And again, I have no context as far as what his team looks like. Like if he's loaded at wide receiver,
exactly.
Okay. Then again, there's a different context where I could kind of swing, but just seeing here what we see on this screen right now, like I would want Justin Jefferson and Alvin Kamara, right? And that's kind of where I lean. Even Big Diaz, I mean, dude.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Jefferson and a first for Love, Fant, a third and a fourth. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet.
Very sweet. Very, very sweet. And that's what I'm saying. Like 3-team trades, man, are so difficult. Like I said, I feel like there's always one team. But again, Shane, maybe it was what you needed, man, for your team. Maybe you have an incredible wide receiver room that we're just not looking at, right? And you're a very savvy guy, so I would expect really nothing less from you. And so if you felt like this was something that you needed for your team, hey, man, kudos to you.
Yeah. I mean, Diaz, that's kind of sicko mode. So good work there. But yeah, three team trades, man, they don't always go down. Like these are, you don't see them for this reason too, right? And I think if I remember correctly, I scroll down here. That trade looks terrible in a vacuum. It makes a lot more sense within the league. Exactly what we're talking about, right? I bet, but we know how Shane builds, right? You know that his wide receiver room is probably tip top already.
Yep.
So he's selling probably from a plus to actually fill the need and get into a range of quarterback that he's probably not getting into cheaper in a stingy league like that. So what a deal to end it, Gabe. Holy heck. I mean, I don't know about you, but like trying to break down trades this time of year, it's like good luck knowing what's going to happen, next week, let alone 24 hours from now. And you want to stay and be able to pivot and remain flexible. But if you can make the right bet this time of year, it's truly going to pay off for you.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, I don't know how you feel. Again, you just got back from your European vacation over there, Mr. Worldwide. But yeah, there you go. But for us here that have been keeping up and watching, man, I feel like I've aged so many years already watching through these 4 weeks of fantasy football and just football in general. It's been bizarre. That's probably the best word that you could probably put on it. It's been bizarre for sure.
Mm-hmm. And don't look now. Now we have bye weeks. Fun.
Yeah.
Right? So
hey, on the bright side, we got AJ Brown coming back soon. Hopefully. I bet he comes back after the bye week. So should have some things returning. Maybe things get back to, how we thought they should be. But something that's never going to go back is this show. It is the All Gas Trade Show. Gabe, you are my man. You are my co-host. If you like this show, if this strums the right chord for you, if you found this actionable, entertaining, somewhere in between, hit the like, hit subscribe, please. If you want to be in the best place in the Dynasty space, head on over ddfantasyfootball.com, patreon.com/allgas. Underdog, you can get in there. Use code ALLGAS. Get your first time deposit bonus and special pick. Get in all, where you'll find Ray literally all offseason in Underdog. And that's all we're going to talk about in the offseason. But anyways, we're in the real season now. So, Gabe, where can people find you on X? And thank you so much for coming on today. Yeah, brother, I appreciate you. Again, looking forward to many, many, many more shows. And so anybody can hit me up on X at iGabe_FF, or you can find me on the Discord at iGabe_. And so again, anything you guys need, feel free to shoot me over some trade questions or anything you need help with. That's what me and Ty are here for.
Yes, sir. I'm Ty Declare 44 on X, everywhere you find me. Take care. Tap in next week. We added this thing. Peace.